Welcome, guys. Welcome to my channel, Eric Nilotowski Art. Today, I am Mr. Eric Critic because I will be doing a review. And I don't think I've done a review yet, but as promised, I wanted to do a review of Titan, Mouse of Might. This is Gary Shipman's book, and I wanted to tell you what I thought about it. I really enjoyed it, and I want to give it a fair and wonderful critique. So let's get into it. Is that my intro? I think that's my intro. All right, let's get into it then. I know Gary Shipman. You guys, I know a lot of my fans probably know Gary Shipman as well. We're all friends. We know each other. So this review, though, I think is going to be more for the people that don't know who Gary is, because I want people to know about Titan, Mouse of Might. A wonderful book. And so I'm going to try and sell you on it. Now, like I said, a lot of you know Gary, so you probably already bought the book, and you know how awesome this character in this book is. So I don't have to sell you. So this is for the new people. And then also, Gary, if you're listening, I'm going to try and give you some criticisms that maybe you can take and use on your wonderful way and your journey to greatness. Take it or leave it. But hey, that's what a critic does. These are just my opinions. You don't have to love them. You don't have to like them. You don't have to take them. But I'm just going to give them. All right? So, Titan, Mouse of Might. Gary Shipman has put out 2 books in a year's time. Well, this one just came out this year, but both campaigns were launched in 2020. So Gary is kicking butt. He is like a steam train. He just keeps rolling, and it's awesome. Yeah, and these books are very, very affordable. These were only, I think, $25. And then with shipping, it was only $30. So both of these hardcover books, I think they're 80 pages or something. So it's super affordable, guys. Now, if you don't want to listen to the whole review, I get it. So I'm just going to skip to the end where I tell you whether I'm going to recommend this book to you or not. And I would definitely recommend these books to you. So there you go. You don't even have to watch the whole video. If you don't want to, I'm telling you right now, you're going to want to go get these books. They're currently, book 2 is still in demand, How the Mighty Have Fallen. You can go on the Indiegogo page. I have the link in the description, and you can go pick it up right now. And you can also get the first volume, Titan, Mouse of Might, as well. So, boom. Now, if you want to listen to my critique, let's get into that. All right. Very great stuff. The quality of the book, I do like. However, I do have, and also, Gary, good job with switching the autograph to the inside of the book on campaign 2. Very smart. I think that probably will disappear over time. So good call on that. Quality of the book, my only critique of the book itself is I wish I could see more of the little small lines that Gary does. They kind of, these little lines here kind of disappear. It kind of almost reads as like a 50% gray. So I just wish that some of this stuff was blacker. The blacks are a little bit darker. You kind of lose some of that. The quality, this is uncoated paper. It's very thin. It's not newsprint, but it's like the basic of paper. You know, so, I mean, I wish it could be a little bit, maybe do like a satin or something. And I just had a black and white book that I printed, and I did it on satin. The blacks are super crisp and clean and clear. And I think the price point, Gary, if you're listening, is very comparable. So if you are interested, I could tell you who I went through, and maybe you'd want to give them a try. And I could show you how my books turned out. But very similar. But I like the blacks are blacker, and then you can kind of pick up even the little stuff as well. So that's just my opinion. But you've got so much awesome work here that you've put into it, a lot of lines, and I just want to see them all, Gary. I just want to see them all. All right. So that's the book itself. Okay, so the story, guys, if you grew up and you like The Secret of Nim, if you've ever read Mouse Guard by David Peterson, which I have because I like it, I love it. This is more of a fantasy story with little mice, but if you like those things, you would love Titan, Mouse of Might. It's a little mouse and like a little Batman-esque escapade. Plus, hold on. Gary's got this amazing, wonderful, like Will Eisner style that you really just don't see anymore. And so that just like totally lends to the storytelling and the character, I think, of Titan as well. So I really, really love it. I was also going to say, what was I going to say? I was going to say that the story, something about, yes. A lot of this story ties into Gary's other work called Pakins Land. Now, I have not read Pakins Land. I've seen it, and it's very similar in style. He did it a lot earlier in his career, so it's probably going to be a little bit different. But I remember when I was working, or I had like a little mentorship going. I was doing an internship with Alias Comics, with Lamppost Publications, and I remember seeing Pakins Land there, and I remember checking it out. So it's very C.S. Lewis, Chronicles of Narnia kind of vibe, but very cool. You can also get that on the campaign if you want to check out the whole world, because this Titan Mouse of Might kind of comes out of that world and just kind of like continues the story, which is really kind of cool. So again, I can't comment too much on Pakins Land because I have not read it, but knowing what I do know, it does flow from Pakins Land. So if you want the full story, you're going to have to get Pakins Land. But all right, so anyway, I've talked about Gary's cool style, very Will Eisner-esque. Gary's a really good storyteller. I enjoy how he uses, let me show you, he uses the dun-dun-dun sound effects in an awesome, awesome way. You know, again, you don't see this stuff too much anymore, and he's just kind of telling the story through the sounds. And comics can be very, you know, you could use your four senses, and I enjoy how Gary does that. And even the character himself, Titan, Gary brings out Titan's weakness through this sound, this reoccurring sound that he hears, and it brings these flashbacks. And then he gets tied up and he's like, you know, struggling to focus. And it's really cool how, you know, this sound almost kind of brings forth Titan's weakness, and it just keeps playing throughout the book. You know, and it could have been something he sees, but it's a sound, and that's cool, Gary. Way to go. Using the four senses in your storytelling. So again, Titan is kind of like a Batman-esque character, but he's a mouse. And one of the things I enjoy too is Gary's use of scale, because it's a mouse. But like notice here, right? Titan's on top of this. You think it's like a skyscraper, right? But it's only a little sign, and behind him is the actual building. And so you have this mouse, and Gary's using scale in a very smart and fantastic way. He slips into the vent there, and it's like boom. So he's playing with the size of the character in his storytelling. It's really, really cool. What else? I do also like, Gary, how you're using his gadgets. I kind of miss that with Batman. A lot of times the writer like takes for granted that Batman has these gadgets, and you don't really get to see them. They're not super functional, but I like that Titan's gizmos and gadgets are functional. You get to see him. He's popping stuff out of his belt, putting it back in his pouches. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, so where else can I be critical? I don't want to be all nice about it. I want to be fair and balanced. I gave Gary a hard time about one of his faces a bit ago. Just to be, you know, there's got to be something I can rag on Gary about. Some of the, and it was mostly, I think, in the upshots of this Professor Nimoy character. I just thought, you know, Gary, I know you're a wonderful, you know, when you do portraits and stuff, you knock it out of the park. But I felt like some of your upshots, I think you might need some reference just to really hone it in there, because one of them was just, he looked a little too funky to me. See if I can find it. This one. I thought his eyes were oddly proportioned. It could be the shading too. I don't know. I just felt like, Gary, it's not your best face. It's not your best. I want to see your best, Gary. Every panel. Absolute best. Again, Gary has a great use of and he's doing these sound effects. He's drawing them. It's not just popping them in there in Photoshop. I really like that. Great composition. So Gary is a professional, guys. If you didn't know, he does a great job at storytelling. He puts a lot of effort, energy into what he's doing, and he knows how to tell the story through whether it's sound effects or the action. Gary, and look at the eyes. Boom. The eyes tell the story in this one. All right. So this is book 1. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover in there. Titan Mouse of Might Volume 2 just came out. I did read this. I went back, I read the first volume, and then I read the second volume just to make sure I knew, kind of get my bearings and stuff. Again, very, very similar. I don't want to give any spoilers or anything, although, if you don't want spoilers, you probably just check out right now. I will touch on a few things, but one of the things, again, I love Gary's use of the sound effects. Look at that. He's hitting him with the keyboard, and then you see crash with the keys. That's just phenomenal. That's brilliant. And guys, most of this book is brilliant. I'm going to tell you right now. It is brilliant. So now let me check my notes. I made a few notes. Dun dun dun. So again, I talked about Titan's weakness, and I think for me, when you have a hero, but Gary uses the hero's weakness in a great way, and it you're kind of like he's telling the story through his weakness, but also, yeah, you get these flashbacks to Titan's past, and so whenever he hears the sound or a flashback is triggered, it kind of almost paralyzes him, and he has to grapple with it. And Gary uses that to kind of further the story, tell you the backstory, and just kind of continue the story along. One thing that I do think, while it is good, here's my critique, and this is probably my only, one of my main critiques as far as storytelling goes, Gary, if you're listening. So in book 1, you've set up this kind of tempo, the pacing, and you have the main story, then you have a flashback, main story, continuing flashback. And so when you get to book 2, you're kind of continuing that same type of storytelling. And so you kind of have this constant tempo throughout both books. And so my only critique is I kind of wish the tempo would be broken up a little bit from that same pace, because at this point in book 2, you get all the way through and it's kind of it's getting a little monotonous. And so I kind of wish, you'd break it up just a bit and kind of give a little bit more variation with that. At one point, you kind of go to Titan's backstory when he's a kid, and this is the first time you're seeing his mom and his dad. And I kind of wish that little section would have just been played out to the end, and you kind of see what happens, and then that propels him forward to do whatever awesome mighty thing he's going to do next. But again, it kind of just followed the same formula from book 1. You get your main story, you get the flashback, main story, flashback, and so it's just kind of the same continuation. And so now at book 2, we're about, gosh, I don't know, 120 plus pages. If they're 80 pages each, then we're at 140 pages, and it's still got the same exact tempo. So personally, I would just like to see, for you to be able to change that and do something a little different. Also, this is just my personal opinion. I don't really love movies, comics that take place in one setting. They never leave that one place. For instance, if you've ever seen Dredd, the Judge Dredd movie with Carl Urban, it's you're in this one building pretty much the whole movie. In the beginning, you're outside, then you go to the building. They're in the building the rest of the stinking movie. And so it's kind of constricting with storytelling, right? Because me personally, I like stories that I want to see the world, right? And you can, especially if you're in like a sci-fi futuristic world, I love that stuff. So I want to see more of the world. I want to experience it. I want to, the first Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone, you're out and about, you're seeing the world, you're seeing the streets, you're seeing outside of the city. So, you can kind of use that in your storytelling to kind of, propel the story forward. Whereas with Titan, you're stuck in this one building, and Titan's a mouse, obviously, but so you get to see these little parts, but you're only in one building, so there's only so much you can show, and it's kind of getting like a little like, gosh, I wish I could see more type of feeling. It can be done. Think of Predator. That was jungle, 100% whole time jungle, but I loved Predator. It didn't bother me. The story really moved. You didn't feel kind of like constricted, or you didn't feel like, I don't know, maybe I get claustrophobic. I don't know what it is, but sometimes just movies that are stuck in one setting, it's like, I don't know what it is. It's weird. So for this, I'm starting to feel a little claustrophobic, where I want to get out of here. I want to be somewhere else. And so now, at the end of the second book, you're still there. You got a little bit of piece of some backstory flashback through Professor Nimoy's eyes, and you kind of see a little bit outside. But for this, we're still stuck inside. Plus, you have a third book you're going to have to do, and you're going to be, and this is just me personally, like, I'm going to be claustrophobic knowing I'm stuck in this same building, and if I'm stuck with the same tempo of storytelling, flashback story, it's just going to be like monotonous. And so I for me personally, I'd need to see something more. Hopefully in the third book, it's probably going to be hard to pull off, but I'd want there to be a big, huge payoff in book 3, and for something to get us to the next part of the story, personally. So, yeah. And, Gary, the story, I don't, but I feel like it's going to be hard to pull that off. Not that you're only trying to please me, Gary, but I'm just saying that's just me. Also, I felt like your one character who is in the metal suit, I don't feel like that's going to be a huge surprise. I kind of feel like I already know what's going to happen there. I think I know who that is, so I'm not going to be so surprised when you reveal that. Also, all right, since I'm getting critical, Gary, here's one thing that I thought was kind of odd, was when Professor Nimoy stabs Mr. Titan. I felt like it was never in the same spot. Like here, it looks like that'd be his left shoulder, and then it looks like it's in the center. So maybe he moved it to avoid his heart. I don't know, but it's in the center. Stabs it through. And then I felt like him pulling it out of the side over here didn't feel like it was in the right location. I felt like the location of his wound kept changing. Not a huge deal. It was just kind of like, wait, what? Because like here, it's like upward going out the back, then it's in the center. And if it goes straight through his back, it wouldn't be down at his side. He wouldn't even really be able to just grab it and pull it out. So I just felt like that kind of just changed a little bit. So anyway, not a big deal. Also, since I'm being critical, here's the flashback of the mommy daddy scene. Great. I love that part of the story. But I just wish it just continued. Okay, so this is going to be a spoiler. All right, so don't listen if you don't want a spoiler. But there's a point when Titan bites the dust. Yes, he does. He bites the dust. And it was odd to me. So I forget where it happens. Professor Nimoy, he shoots him with his gun. So this is after, right? Yeah, that's after. So he shoots him with the gun. And it was odd that Titan actually did die. I can't find it. I don't know why. Okay, that's when he finds the other dude. But Titan died, and he comes back to life, which is fine. I felt like, how did Titan die from a little blast of this gun? So maybe he was just really weak. I don't know. I just felt like I couldn't follow. All right, so he shoots him with this ray gun. It didn't seem like a huge, powerful thing. I thought it was to stun him, but then he ends up actually dying. And then blah blah blah. The story goes on. So he comes back to life. But I felt like he shouldn't have died. Like, because if he did die, then Professor Nimoy couldn't perform his little experiment that he's going to do later on the other dude. So I just felt like that was kind of weird. Like, I don't know. For some reason, it just didn't jive with me. But I liked what happened. I just felt like that was maybe, I don't know. It was just odd. I was like, wait, really? You died? And just kind of, one of those things. But anyway, I don't want to get too crazy on it. I loved it overall, 100%. Gary is a wonderful storyteller. Again, being an artist myself, and it's just one of those stupid critical things. It's like, you start criticizing everything, and so those were just some things that, if I really was being honest, those were some things that stood out to me that I just wanted to point out. But honestly, there are things that probably no one else would even think about. But that is it. Overall, really great stuff. 100% would recommend this. I think you should pick it up. And yeah. And at first too, when I first saw the campaign and everything for book 2, and I saw this character in the suit, I was like, oh, Gary's like doing the whole Batman, does it even have a name, that metal bat suit that he fights Superman with? I'm like, oh, he gave Titan one of those. Like, so I'm glad it wasn't Titan. It's like another character, because I thought, I was like, you can go with the whole Batman thing, but then if you just it's like, so good job, Gary. I'm glad you didn't just go with that and have Titan in that. That makes me happy. But yeah, but there's a ton more stuff that Gary has done and that you can pick up. I'm gonna show you real quick the Indiegogo page for Titan Mouse of Might Volume 2, where you can also get Volume 1. So let me slide over here and share that with you. Bump, bump, bump. But there you go, guys. Again, I loved Gary's book. I'm just, I don't want to be too easy on him. I don't want to be too easy on you, Gary. I don't want to let you off too easy. So, but again, they're just my thoughts and opinions. Take it or leave it. Do what you want with it. But this campaign is still in demand. You can still pick it up. Let me switch over here so I can scroll. 60% fulfilled. So if you hop on now, you'll probably get your book within, gosh, less than a month, potentially. So here is the regular hardcover, which I got the first time around, only 25 bucks. All right. He probably has a deal for both. Let me see. Yep, here it is. Titan 1 and 2 regular hardcover, $49. So you're saving a whole buck, plus you're going to save on shipping. So boom, there you go. Dun, dun, dun. And then he also did them as individual comics, which is really cool. I can't critique those because I don't have them, but I wanted something in a hardcover. I know they're going to be classic, and I want them in a hardcover so I can protect them. I'm going to let my kids read these and share them with my kids because they are fantastic. They're all ages, nothing that you have to worry about there. Yeah. So there you go, guys. I don't think Gary has actually like an intro video. He does have himself coloring some stuff, but I didn't see a video. Maybe you could find it. But Gary is a great guy. I know Gary. We are friends. Yeah, he's the most humblest dude you'll find around working, I think. And so you're gonna want to help him out, back his book, and check out what he's got going on. All right, guys. That's enough for me. I hope you enjoyed my critique. La da da. I also have a book currently funding on Indiegogo, so if you want to check that out, I did put the link in the description there. and I will see you next time. Take care, and God bless.